braces this week.
Why?
Everything's stiff. I got tooth going all like this.
Rob knocking you around again?
Yeah, so we're gonna fix that space next time he hits it. Next time he hits me, it's not going back.
That's right, he'll just spin his knuckles right.
Yeah, that's right. I'll only wear it for 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, yeah. They're the quickest and cheapest way, just straight up.
Is that those Invisalign?
It's cheaper than it is, and quicker than it is.
Who's doing it?
There's Jan's, right out there by the hospital, by Dr. Leslie. That's where Dr. Jan's is over.
Yeah.
That's where my little son is. I just got on Wednesday.
And a bird. This tooth is already gone. There's something wrong with this tooth. But this tooth here was doing something, sucking in on itself. So it says. Sucking. It was either implant or they're just supposed to be cheap. Let the record show at 6 o'clock, we'll call our meeting to order. Sarah, would you please give the roll call?
Here.
Present?
Eric Gall.
Here.
Shannon Norton.
Present.
Tim Lewis.
Present.
Daniel Gant.
Here.
Michael Bush. Ron Truitt.
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. You have the agenda that's been sent to you. I don't think there's any changes to it, so could I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Goff to approve the agenda as submitted. Second by Mr. Truitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Or question? Motion carries. The next we have what is called the Sunshine Law speakers. If anyone signed up prior to the meeting, it's your opportunity to speak if you want to speak regarding something that's not on the agenda.
There's nobody under sunshine.
Okay, let the record show that there is no one to speak. Okay, we have approval of the meeting minutes. Again, those were sent to you.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goff to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gokenhour. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain due to absence.
Okay, let the record show there's one abstention by Mr. Gant.
Abstain due to absence.
And Ms. Norton due to absence. The motion passed. We will begin our public hearings. We have 3 of them this evening. Spring Mills, Dominion Springs, and Foley Springs.
The first public hearing tonight's a request for major plan change approval. The project is Spring Mills PUD Phase 11, Section 1. The file is 2108-307. The developer is Panhandle Homes and the engineer is Fox & Associates. It's located in the Falling Waters District, tax map 14, parcel 1.26, and is located southwest of the intersection of Hammonds Mill Road and T.J. Jackson Drive. The purpose of this major plan change is to bring the existing regional stormwater management pond into compliance with the 2016 Stormwater Management Ordinance. Also, a new stormwater management facility and a 2.08 acre commercial lot is proposed to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On October 17, 2022, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The major plan change meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends approval of the major plan change and advancement to the final plat stage.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project this evening?
Good evening. My name is Sean Fernandez, and I'm with Fox & Associates, and I'm here representing the developer.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. This is an opportunity for you to make your comments known regarding this project. If you have questions or comments, now's the opportunity to come forward, state your name, your address, and any comments you might have regarding this project.
If there is no one, move public hearing be closed.
Second.
Let the record show that there's no one to speak from the public. The motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the staff or of the representative this evening?
No question, ma'am. I'd like a motion, we accept staff recommendation for major plan change and advance to the final plat stage.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gokenhour, second by Mr. Goff to accept staff recommendation, and that is to advance the project to the major plan stage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a question? Motion passed. The next item for public hearing is Dominion Springs.
This public hearing is a request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Dominion Springs Farm subdivision. The file is 2205-139. The developer is Dominion Springs Farm LLC, and the engineer is Morris and Ritchie Associates. It's located in the Gerardstown District, tax map 40, parcel 9.2, and is located on the east side of Dominion Road, approximately 500 feet north of the Berkeley-Frederick County line. This project proposes two-acre single-family residential lots to be served by private well and septic. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On April 6, 2023, County Engineer Doug Smith stated the above-mentioned project was compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Do we have anyone to represent the project this evening?
I'm not representing them, I'm speaking. I'm not representing the project.
Okay. Well, is there anyone to represent the project? Do we have an engineer or a representative here for the project? Okay, let the record show that there is no one to represent the project. This is the public hearing. If you'd like to speak, now's your opportunity.
Name is Ron Collins, 3864 Dominion Road, Gerardstown, West Virginia. The two lots that are proposed here do not perk. So I guess my question would be, what type of a septic is going to be put in? This is the second time this has come around. They put an entranceway in a while back, did the perk test, and didn't perk, so they tore up the entranceway and removed it, these two lots. So what type of a system, since the lots do not perk?
Do we have an answer from the staff on that?
The health department records that we did, we were given for the lot show they started.
Well, they show the SRA, but I mean, they technically don't have to give us the perk test results until the preliminary plan stage anyway, so I'm not sure that they actually perked these lots or if they just showed the SRA, but we wouldn't ask for that until the next phase.
One lot I know perks because it showed up once before and it didn't pass.
But the one lot didn't pass.
One all the way down here didn't pass, because that was on another preliminary final plat. I know that one did pass. Now this other one, they, like I said, when they turn in the preliminary plan, they'll have to get their final perks in.
Is any of you all familiar with the mountain runoff?
Yep.
You familiar with how much water comes down through there?
Probably why they didn't perk.
Exactly.
They put a curtain drain around the property though, to stop that lateral movement in the water.
You're gonna have to do a lot of that, Dan. That water comes down off of there. I live right across the road from there. That water comes down off of there. My sump pump runs sometimes 30 hours straight, keeping it out of the basement. And then if you look out my south window, you'll see water flowing down the yard across. Now at the end of my yard and on the state road property, there's a 2-foot ditch. That ditch is filled. Water goes north down to the stream on my property. And I have seen as much as almost 6 inches of water across the road, make it almost totally impossible. So there is a tremendous amount of water that's coming off of there, and those lots are going to be flooded.
Have you spoken with the health department regarding the perk test?
No, ma'am. I just went by what was done the first time. But I haven't seen the perk test done. Like I say, I live right across the road. I haven't seen anybody over there do a perk test now on these two.
Well, we would require perk test results prior to the preliminary plan, as the staff has stated. It's up to the planning commission if you want to make any kind of movement on this project, or whether you want to table it because there's no representative, or table it because there is no perk test results. It's up to you.
Can't really fix it for that, because they don't require it to a preliminary plat.
They don't require it to a preliminary plat, so
Well,
I would say since there's no representative
I
and
would say
there's
no
comments.
representative.
hold on.
They can table it for further information since it's been running.
Right.
Right.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Table.
Yeah. I would move the table.
I think there's other comments to be heard also.
Okay. That's my comments. Thank you.
Could I speak?
Sure.
I'm Gary Belford, Georgetown, on Dominion Road. It's my farm, I sold it. And I don't even want to see it in the house, so I can't keep it in the farm. But water is a big problem. I mean, I got a house up on the bank on the other side of the creek. I lived there for 43 years. And the water comes down through there, and I got a culvert that's 9 foot, and the water's 2 foot over top that culvert lots of times. And it's all coming from that mountain valley. It's flowing right in there. And where he said it's coming off the mountain, I've seen it a lot deeper than 6 inches through there. And the two houses that they already built, I've seen water come up as high as where they've got the house built there now. I mean, I don't know how they got them in there, because it's a floodplain. And that whole, from the old farmhouse all down through there is completely water. You can't get in or out anywhere. The water is a big problem.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak regarding the project?
So I guess as one of the representatives from Virginia here tonight, we wish you guys a happy birthday, May 15th.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Matt Punzak. I'm basically here by myself. I live at 1393 Frog Collar Road in Virginia, right down the road from Ron. I looked at your read-ahead package and I went through that, and I saw the proposal for the 2 additional 2-acre lots for the Dominion Farm LLC subdivision. Today I contacted your offices, and the reason I contacted them is I wanted to see what this entire subdivision entails. Right now there's 2 lots with 2 houses. We're looking at 2 lots that are going to be, I guess, sold in the future as part of a subdivision. So my first question to the folks down here, or the question I had today was, do we have a 30,000-foot view of the 91.55 residue acres? And is it really going to be a real subdivision? Is there some type of sketch plan that I could take a look at and say, hey, this is a subdivision as I understand it? So if we don't have one, that goes to my concern. So my concern is today is we don't have a full sketch plan on the proposed development, which I think would be very valuable and help us give you folks a lot better comments. We got really good comments from Ron and the other rep. The area we live in is kind of unique, water-wise and a few other reasons, and it may not be the best place for a subdivision. But in any case, we'd like to see the plan. Just so we have a visual concept of the proposed subdivision, we can have some accurate information on the subdivision itself, what it's going to tell, how many houses, where they're planning, size of the lots, etc. Sanitation and all the other considerations, including water. And then when we have this information, we would probably come back to a meeting like this and have a really good conversation, and maybe give you guys some valid opinions. So, to close out on my comment is to the Planning Commission is to pause going to preliminary. I think that would be the next stage, preliminary. Okay? And any further development on that subdivision until Dominion Springs Farm LLC or their developer can provide a suitable sketch plan that we can comment on.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Do you want to reply to that?
Yeah, we actually had a meeting with this because the first two houses that you see in there that are existing came in about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We approved those.
They were
And-
just out sales.
Preliminary final plats.
Okay, all right.
Which we could do nothing, I mean, there was no floodplain out there, there is none shown.
We know that there's
We know there
obviously
is
a
probably
floodplain, but
one,
it's not
FEMA
mapped.
has not mapped it. On a preliminary final plan detailing a resident homeowner wants to carve off 2 lots to do a HEC-RAS study for the floodplain, I would be crucified. Okay? That being said, we know there's issues, we know there's wetlands there. They actually had to go look at it. They actually do have to do some stormwater management quality, but it's a preliminary final plan. When these 2 other lots showed up, I stopped it because I know that I have it with the intelligence that there may be a pending subdivision plan here. I don't know. But when they came in, they swore up and down that all they wanted was these 2 lots.
Well,
So I can't,
We made them do a sketch plan instead of preliminary plan because of
the
stormwater
stormwater,
management.
because they added 2 more
it was
lots.
submitted as preliminary final.
all
We
right.
looked at it as subdivision by default. They were trying to, it's what we see all the time. We get preliminary final in for 2 lots. And then 2 years later, they come back with 2 more. And then, what we're worried about.
There's nothing in our ordinance that requires people to do a full plan of the residue of the property that they own. The only thing that we would check in this instance is to make sure that the residue has an entrance permit, it has a perk test and a well
And a well.
location.
Has Morris and Richie been notified that tonight was a public hearing?
They picked up the public hearing time.
Okay. Okay. Pretty well seals it. Planning Commission, do you have, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted, I had a few other things, but I think the rest of the team here is probably going to cover that. Some other issues we're just considering too is the possibility of sinkholes in the area. Mr. Belford reported one, we talked about it. The geology in the area is kind of unique too. I'm not a geologist by training, I can barely play one on TV. But I can read a geological map, and I did that when I built my house. There's some heavy stone in that area, and we don't know. I'm going to hit the perk. And actually, sometimes it's rough to build on. We've had some building in Virginia where we've had cost overruns on homes just trying to sink a cellar into the rock down there. Ron brought up the flooding in Little North Mountain. When I first went out to 5 years ago to build a home, I talked to Greg, one of our neighbors, and he told me about the water. And I said, well, that's amazing. Actually, she shoots water. And I really kind of said, close it. And I saw it. When water comes off of North Mountain, it comes off heavy. 4 inches of rain has produced millions of gallons off that mountain. It's running fast, and when it comes down through the hayfields, it actually looks like a small 3-inch flood. But that water quickly fills up Frog Hollow, and the rest it backs up. It's really impressive. Traffic concerns again too. We don't know if there's going to be a subdivision. 4 houses aren't going to add a lot. But if we get 48 lots, as you know, intelligence indicates, something said, rumors, that's going to really impact traffic on that road. And I've had 2 accidents in my front yard just from folks coming from West Virginia, transiting down, trying to get to Winchester or 522, and it could be a hectic world place. These are carriage roads we're talking about. In the state of Virginia, they define as carriage roads. They were laid out back in the 1800s and just paved, I think, within the last few years. And the last thing we're looking at too, and I think everybody will talk about this, is how are the property values going to be impacted? Again, if we had a plan and we can see the subdivision, we can really comment more on that. Without a plan, we don't know what we're going to have out there. So if we had a well-planned subdivision, it may reduce any risk of property values. And really, well-planned subdivisions probably enhance the lives of folks. Because we've seen a couple of places, that people just throw things together, and it really doesn't work. So with that, I'll be done.
Okay. Well, some of the things that you mentioned are not new to us. We hear these quite frequently. Highways, we hear sinkholes, we hear a litany of things like you mentioned. Some of the things we have no control over as this body. So, to say that there is going to be a subdivision there, like our engineer says, we don't know that yet. If that happens, there will be a rather large list of things and agencies that he will have to get approvals from before he gets our final approval. So, by not having a representative here this evening, it's hard to answer any questions other than what we have had presented to us this evening.
If I could add to what you said, one of the concerns I see is I see the residue, and I see 2 lots, and then we cleave off another 2, and then we're going to cleave off 2 more and just continue on.
Happens all the time.
It does, but then it doesn't result in something that's probably that's something that is attractive in market.
They've reached their maximum now because they're funding.
Road funds.
Yeah, and there's only one entrance possible down there.
It's,
Okay.
for them to do anything else, it would be a major plan submission.
Like it is
We
now.
can't, when you say somebody, all we can, we can't call somebody a liar. You can be blunt about it. So, I mean, I kind of know what's going on. I kind of feel like that's where we are, but I have to base it on what the submittal is. We did pour some into this so we could at least start some water quality and stormwater management on these 2 lots, but it's really not going to do anything as far as major flood control, but there really isn't any increase in that with these 4 lots. These lots really aren't going to affect any flood control or flood runoff. They're not exacerbating that much. Now, 58 lot subdivision, whole other story.
Yeah. Do we have other comments from the public? Sir, do you want to come up, please?
I'm Leo Brown Jr., 3468. I own quite a few properties in front of this farm. And Jews want to see flood. They already got 2 houses now in the flood range. They already just put 2 houses in there. That's where the 2 houses are. Right, that one house, I can show you a picture where that creek is. It's right in the flood zone. The whole road and everything's flooded. Yeah. They got 2 houses there, already in the flood zone. About that floods.
Oh yeah, that's part of our comments. It's just.
But you got houses already, existing houses they just built there. I thought you had to be so far from a stream. You got a stream going on this side of the house, you got a stream going in behind the house. And over on Ronnie's side, there's another stream coming in, run off the mountains. Is there going to be any restrictions on these properties?
There's a 35-foot stream buffer from top of bank to top of
I mean, is there any restrictions for these 2-acre oak farms, as I call it, the 2 there now?
Restrictions for what?
Is there going to be a house developed? You come in there, you oak farm.
there's
Houses
no
got
zoning, so
goat
there's
farms.
no zoning in Berkeley County, so each lot that is created through the sketch plan, they're telling us that it's 2 residential lots, so that's what it's being reviewed as, is 2 lots for single family houses. But there aren't any covenants or restrictions that are with those 2 lots currently, but we did tell them that they would need to try to incorporate with those 2 if those 2 wanted to incorporate with them, but these 2 lots will have restrictions.
Well, they got
That's all
farms.
up to the
They're making
developer.
farms out of these 2 acre lots. You got goats, 10 dogs, dog kennels, horses on these 2-acre lots. I mean,
Well-
you talk about a mess. It's a
But
mess.
we can't
A brand new
tell,
home, goats
Sir-
on the front porch.
sir,
Really?
we can't tell people that they can't have goats and they can't have chickens and they can't have horses. There is no restrictions like that in Berkeley County that I'm aware of unless you're in the city.
I figured it was all gonna be in that one house, development, you would have restrictions on it.
Housing development.
There's no covenants or restrictions that have been required yet.
If there is a big, if it turns into a bigger subdivision, yes, there will be deed covenants and restrictions that the developer will provide, and our legal counsel will review them. But for what's there now, we can't tell them that they can't have goats or chickens or pigs or anything else. That's, we don't have zoning in Berkeley County, so
And there's anything whatsoever.
nope. Only deed covenants and restrictions, and often those are enforced by the homeowners association.
We do have a property maintenance code that some of this may possibly be able to be addressed with.
That's a county council ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that would have to come before the
I
county council
consider
for it.
all 4 of them lots, flood zone. Me,
Well, there's no FEMA flood zone there. And
It's being mapped
if
this
FEMA
year.
is remapping it, whether or not it'll come up to the level of them mapping it there or not, we don't know. I mean, it's not a big enough subdivision for us to ask somebody to spend $30,000 to $60,000 doing a head grass study to figure it out. If we ask that for one house, think about that.
That's
They did
my
have their
concern.
setbacks, they did meet all
I
the
don't mind somebody
setbacks.
building a nice house, but, I just say all big restrictions on, you can't, you may have 2-acre farms. I mean, it's getting really ridiculous. You got always, canisters, then you got 2 houses. You're getting ready to put a mini house in between the other houses, but you're gonna have 3 houses on 2 houses, 2 lots.
My name's Lisa Maloney. I'm the other Virginia.
I'm sorry. what
My
the-
name's Lisa Maloney. I'm the other Virginia resident. I live at 420 Ideal Place in Winchester, which is one of those weird 3 houses that you have to go into West Virginia to come back to. So a lot of my stuff is West Virginia stuff. But I agree with Matt in that, and I know you can't call him a liar, but I kind of can. So it seems to us that they're playing the game. They're going to do 2 and then 2 and then 2 and then 2. And your argument is it's not a big enough subdivision now to hold them accountable. By the time it is, it'll be too late, and we'll be stuck with it. So if FEMA is, and on the floodplain issue, if FEMA's remapping this year, why can't we put a hold on it until the remapping is done, and then come back and see, well, they can either say yay or nay. You can't, but I'm assuming you guys can table it until the new FEMA map is done. I don't know.
They're supposed to be doing it this year, but it's FEMA and it's the federal government,
Yeah.
so.
So it's dorked up bureaucracy. I get that.
We
Okay.
can't tell every developer in Berkeley County, hey, come see us in 2 years from FEMA's done.
Let me refer to legal counsel to
But I'm not
maybe
talking
give
about-
you some assurance on the legal portion of it.
But I'm not talking about every developer. I'm talking about this one area where we know it's a flood problem. You know it's a flood problem. Half this board knows it's a flood problem. And I'm pretty sure the developer does too. They're just not willing to say it. So I'm not talking about every development that comes through your office. I'm talking about this one specific site that we know is a major issue. But, thank you.
Well, we have to rule on what's in front of us. That's the part that is kind of between a rock and a hard spot. We have to rule on what we have in front of us tonight. We may know in our minds and in our thoughts that there's going to be additional work there, but we can't require them to do that. Our regulations doesn't permit us to go beyond the scope of our regulations. So,
Understand, could you ask them, what their intents are? Could you send them by a message by?
In the meeting that we met with them, we asked them if they intend to further subdivide, so we would have a better idea, and they said no, they just want to do these 2 lots, and then they're done. You have to understand, they submitted through a much simpler way to get property subdivided, like the first 2 lots were, and pushing them to do the sketch plan was even a stretch for us, because we know that there's stormwater issues and water issues, period. We know that they've already subdivided 2 lots off the residue, but we've asked them, they told us no, so I think that that's as far as we can push it when we're meeting with them.
And like I said, their frontage is gone now, so them trying to go through the simple process, so.
Well, I disagree with that. I think they have enough frontage to get in.
They need at
They
least.
do have enough frontage to get in, but they don't have enough frontage to get another lot. That's what was easy. Now without the frontage, they have to look at a major subdivision.
Understood. That's all.
Yeah, they would need at least a 50 or 60 foot right of way.
Exactly.
In the front there, so the little bit that they have, the square there to access back, that's probably all they're gonna have until they would come in and do another subdivision. If they do that, you'll see another public hearing sign, but, you know, that's, who knows if it's tomorrow or, you know, months from now or years from
Can
now.
I ask, who puts up those signs?
The developer, or in this case, it was the engineer, I think picked it up with them.
You had it in real well.
Because it's interesting that it's back there in the tall grass where you can't see half of it from the road. And literally I had to,
It's so little, you have to get out to read it. It's not.
yeah. But I just,
Okay.
you know, thought I'd throw that out there. It's interesting.
We hear this quite frequently. It's not new. Okay, planning commission members, we do not have anyone here to answer questions other than our staff. Legal counsel says we can delay a decision on it because we don't have enough information or because we don't have enough representation. So I would ask the council, how do you feel about that? And if you agree with that, then let's take a motion to table or,
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
okay. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing, then we'll hear no more comments from the public. Motion by Mr. Gant and second by Mr. Goff to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a question? Public hearing is now closed. Okay, planning commission, what's your feelings on this project?
Yes, ma'am, I'm prepared to make a motion to table this project, Dominion Spring Farm subdivision, until Morrissey and Ritchie Associates can provide additional information.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Gokenhour, second by Mr. Goff to table the project until the engineer Morris and Ritchie can provide additional information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show that there's no opposition, no questions. Motion passed. Okay, the next project for public hearing is Foley Springs.
This is another public hearing for a request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Foley Springs. The file is 2212-373. The developer is Panhandle Homes and the engineer is Fox and Associates. It's located in the Mill Creek District, tax map 11, parcels 2 and 2.3. The site's located on the south end of Sulphur Springs Road, approximately a quarter-mile east of Zigzag Lane. This project proposes 437 residential lots and 2 commercial lots on approximately 211 acres to be served by public water and sewer. At the April 3rd, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted a waiver to Section 801, Table 8-1A, requiring 3 parking spaces for single-family attached dwellings, with 1 space being off-site. On April 25th, 2023, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the above-mentioned project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Do you have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, good evening. Steve Sianovich, Fox and Associates, representing the applicant.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to speak regarding this project? Please come forward, state your name and your address and your comments.
Hi, Marcia Schwalik. I live at 1346 Lamplight Road in Inwood, in the Pine Ridge subdivision. So we are just off Sulphur Springs Road, just near that development. And I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of my neighbors, one of whom expressed a lot of doubt that anything could be done. He thought this would just be rubber stamped. So many of us have lived in that subdivision for 30 plus years. Mine is one of the smaller ones, 3 acres. And we're, to get out, to go anywhere out of our homes, we travel some portion of Sulphur Springs Road. We know what it's like. We know that sometimes you have to divot off to the side if a dump truck or a tractor trailer is coming the other way. We know that we're not just a secondary road, we're more tertiary. If there's any kind of snow or ice event, it's ice packed for days. Also, folks try to go out Hatchery Road as another alternative to get going where they're going. So a lot of concerns about how 400 plus single family homes, in addition to other homes, are going to impact that roadway. I imagine that when these homes are sold, they'll be sold in that desirable Musselman School District, so you're going to have a lot of beginning drivers. We're also going to have another bus stop there on a very busy, very small road. And the other concern that we have is that in our subdivision, we have 2 waterways. We have Three Run and we have the Opequon Creek. Those were supposed to be subject to an environmental study whenever the sanitary sewer system came through. There have been concerns from residents in our subdivision that wasn't really done effectively, so we don't know what the impact of that kind of heavy machinery is going to have in the subdivision and on. We have eagles there, we have great blue heron, we have a couple of different kinds of turtles, and of course all kinds of chipmunks and that kind of thing. This size subdivision is going to require a lot of public utility. So where's that going to go? Are those lines going to have to come through our subdivision? Are they going to go along Sulphur Springs Road? We don't know about that, but we have a lot of concerns. So I think we would prefer for there to be some sort of environmental study done to see if this kind of size residential project is going to impact us environmentally. And if there's a traffic study that could be done, because it just seems as though, in a reactionary way, 10 years down the road, maybe they'll expand Sulphur Springs to make it, big enough to handle that kind of traffic. But right now, it can barely handle the traffic that is there right now. So thank you very much for your time.
Do we have anyone else that wishes to speak regarding this project?
Motion to close public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Let the record show that there's no additional public comments. Motion by Mr. Gant and second by Mr. Gopenauer. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a question on that? Public hearing is now closed. This is a sketch plat, and there will be a litany of things that will be addressed when it goes to the preliminary plan. Mr. Sianovich, representing the project, do you want to address any of
The traffic study was prepared for this project and was under review by the DOH up until about a week ago.
Okay.
We just got comments that we're addressing now.
Okay.
County Engineer Smith also made comments that were very similar to those comments that the DOH had made. But again, we didn't have the DOH comments at the time Mr. Smith made his comments. So we're addressing them. Staff did defer a complete traffic study, which is per ordinance, to the preliminary plat stage. So it wasn't necessary to be completed 100% and approved by the DOH at the sketch plan phase. Also, I would add that we did conduct an environmental study to include wetlands, waterways, and waters of the U.S. We did our best to avoid those sensitive area impacts with 2 exceptions. And we're currently working with, or will be working with, the agencies having jurisdiction to include the Corps of Engineers and state agencies to seek approvals to cross these streams to gain access to the property or other portions of the property.
Do you have any time frame?
I don't.
No.
I don't. I did receive a call today from the traffic consultant where he posed a few questions to me. So I would assume within probably 30 days he may have some response to the traffic study. But as far as the environmental permitting, I can't speak to the timing of that.
But before preliminary plat.
But before preliminary plat.
You all
We
have-
would require it
You
before
all
coming
have
before
seen
you.
the comments on the traffic study that were sent to y'all that we made. And then in the applicant's defense as well, there was some discussion over the crossings, and they are being constructed so that the crossings are out of the 100-year floodplain, so that there was complete access into that subdivision. Nobody was landlocked by those. And typically it would be designed for the 25-year thing, not the 100.
To expand on those comments, the crossings that we have through the streams, they were elevated to a degree where the 100-year water surface elevation wasn't remotely close to pouring over the roadway, that it would still be a safe means of travel by crossing the stream with no impact to the road surface itself, with water flowing over it, for example.
Additional questions, planning commission members?
I don't really have any questions. I do have a comment, and it goes with Marcia's concerns as well. Once again, the problems that this board has to sit here and listen to, we have no authority over. The Department of Highways has all authority on the highway. This road is a 30-foot right-of-way, and there's no room for even additional shoulders to be placed on this. So I'm sure that your traffic study will show the importance and
Of the roadway geometry?
yes, sir.
Yes.
So, but once again, that's something that we have no authority over.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
We did ask in the comments for the traffic study, we did ask the traffic engineer to do an evaluation on what I would call the south side of this roadway, which would be all their affected frontage for roads for shoulders, because they do have to do a highway reservation dedication, so they do have to dedicate 25 foot back from center line. So we did ask them to do an evaluation for shoulders, ditches, and clearances, guardrails as well. That's what we asked DOH to have them do, because we do know that the road is narrow, and you know, a lot of the traffic impacts on this were triggered away from this subdivision at 11:51. So there was a lot of discussion back and forth in the comments with DOH as well about, you know, what should be absorbed by the subdivision, if anything. But once again, I can only make recommendations. It's not my road.
Right. And the other thing is, and I'm as guilty as everybody else, the speed on that road far exceeds that people travel far exceeds the posted limit.
That's correct.
And if you drive the posted limit, which I did when I saw this subdivision,
You're kidding.
when it came out, no, I know the road pretty well. I can fly. I'll take you ride one day. But when it came out, I intentionally went down there and drove the speed limit, and it's a very comfortable drive. It truly was. You know, normally I'm traveling 55 or 60. Speed limit is 45. I mean, that's true.
What's your time number?
I'm just saying. So the speed limit, you know, there will need to be enforced. That's part of the problem.
Well, we do know that since the pandemic, it's nationwide. It's not
Yeah.
just here, just so you know, I mean, it is nationwide. You know, pedestrian impacts are up 20-some%, and speeds have increased 20 to 30% all across. And we know, I mean, I can tell you, you know, there was an agency in another state that did a speed limit study, and they did the first one, which was during the middle of the pandemic. The speeds were already up 10 miles an hour over the posted, and the posted was 65 at the time. They came back just about a year ago, did another speed study, and they were 10 miles above the last. So where do they post the speed limit at? 85? The average speed was literally 85. So
It's all you people buying an electric car.
yeah, I mean, so, we do know that the speed's increased, and, but I can't see, you can't post this road for that.
They're trying to get there before their battery runs out, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's.
They're trying to get
and
there
even the
before their
design
battery
is
runs out?
today Probably doesn't really even support the
The electric cars can accelerate.
Not the site distance.
Faster than I guess.
It could, but
Like they're going faster.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that at the speed limit,
yeah.
that road can handle traffic as long
We
as.
did make the comments, you all saw them, so I mean, I'm sure that the traffic engineer will send me DOH's comments to look at it, which I'll get back to you.
Do we know if in the traffic study, will it address how much traffic will come into the intersection on Sulphur Springs Road, and how many will take Fish Hatchery Road, which is also a road, it's only about 30 feet
I
wide?
saw that,
And
that was a
that's
question because we have Southbrook out there.
Southbrook out there.
That kind of went to my reasoning about the right turn lanes at Southbrook.
There are trip generations and distributions in the traffic study.
Well, again, this is the very first meeting. There's a lot of information that will be yet required by this agency and by other agencies. So I think we all know that there are some issues, but we have to deal with them. And to that, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept staff recommendation and advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan stage.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Gokenhour to advance the project to the preliminary plan stage. And that would be for Foley Springs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a question? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay. The last project, we have two more projects. Final plat determination, Middle Creek Vista subsection 2. Yeah,
See you, Ron.
we'll take a few minutes and let you.
I'll be out. I'll stop in. I'll come out, I'll stop in. Yeah.
So this is a request for final plat determination. The project is Middle Creek Vistas Phase 1, Section 2, file 2206-154. The developer is Warfield Homes and the engineer is Morris and Ritchie Associates. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 21A, parcel 106, and is located at approximately 2,500 feet south of the intersection of Sailor's Way and Strobridge Road, with Middle Creek running through the middle of the site. The developer is proposing 8 single-family lots on approximately 1.76 acres to be served by public water and sewer. On April 20th, 2020, the developer was granted a waiver to Article 5, Section C of the Berkeley County Stormwater Management Ordinance, which requires stormwater management quantity control. On July 26, 2022, County Engineer Doug Smith stated the above-mentioned project was compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the June 21st, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Do we have anyone to represent the project? Unless they came in, I guess we have no one.
Yeah, I didn't think, since the same engineer.
Okay. And they were aware of this meeting tonight?
Yeah, so they picked up the public hearing sign and posted those, but Sarah also emails at least twice. And when we do our review comment letters, we tell them what meeting they're gonna be on, but.
Yeah. Well, this isn't a public hearing though.
Yeah, I'm sorry, no, but I mean,
Earlier.
they get the agenda sent to them by Sarah. So the contacts that we have in the project, all that information gets sent to them prior to the meeting, what, Wednesday? They get the agenda?
Thursday.
Thursday.
All right. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the staff?
Or no, I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation, advertising for a public hearing for final plat approval on June 21st, 2023 planning commission meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gans, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to conduct a public hearing on June 21, at which time the final plat will be considered for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a question? Motion passed. Okay, the next agenda item is Arcadia Springs North.
Yes, this is a request for final plat determination. Project's Arcadia Springs North, Section 1, Phase 9, lots 238 through 243, 260 through 265, 284 through 289, and 293 through 298. The file is 2303-085. The developer is Monarch Development Group, and the engineer is Orden. It's located in the Arden District, tax map 12, parcel 29.3. It is located on Van Cleevesville Road, approximately 2,000 feet east of its intersection with Needy Road. The developer is proposing 24 single-family attached lots on approximately 2.74 acres to be served by public water and sewer. At the July 1st, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted waivers to Section 305.4.1, Article 2, Section 201 Townhome Definition, Article 5, Section 504E, Table 5.3, and Article 8, Section 801, Table 8-1A of the subdivision ordinance. At the September 16th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted an exception to Section 705.1 to not install sidewalks along Van Cleevesville Road. On May 3rd, 2023, County Engineer Doug Smith deemed the project compliant with the subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the June 21st, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Lynch Christian representing the developer.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Christian or the staff?
Hearing no questions, I'll make the motion to accept staff recommendation, advertising of the public hearing, consideration of final plat approval on June 21st, 2023 planning commission meeting.
I have a motion by Mr. Gans, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, and that is to conduct a public hearing on June 21, 2023, at which time the final plat will be considered for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there questions? Motion passed.
Thank you. Can I make one comment?
Yeah.
I noticed on Eddie's, well, first off, I think, anytime there's a public hearing and neither the owner of the property or the developer is here to answer questions, it should automatically be tabled. I mean, it's just the responsibility of the developer or the owner to show up. So I think you guys made the right decision. The other thing I was going to mention was Eddie's motion didn't include, I think what he said was, at the next meeting, MRA is able to attend, but it sounded like those people got their information about the meeting from the posting sign. And if the next meeting is less than 30 days of the required posting period, you might want to consider reposting the property so those people have the opportunity to come back and voice their concerns, and to make sure that they get noticed, because I don't think any of them handed their email to Doug and asked to be kept in the loop when that meeting was going to occur. You know what I'm saying? So
Go by state code, whatever.
add it up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was a good comment, right?
Yeah. He's paid attention.
Lance, was that a good comment you gave us?
Excuse me?
Was that a good comment you gave us?
Yeah, I just.
Okay.
It wasn't his project. He's cool.
Beware of what project you take on. Okay, do we have anything from the staff or legal counsel?
The only thing I'll mention is Nathan put his resignation in last week, so he's leaving us, so this week's his last week.
Really?
Yeah,
He didn't like you anymore?
Probably didn't like Doug.
I hate it when that happens.
I'm gonna miss him. He's a big deal.
Yeah, we'll miss him.
I'll miss him more than she will.
Uh-huh. No, he got a good opportunity and something that he wants to do, so,
Oh, very
yeah,
good.
he's fine, but.
Well, no one wants to see somebody become stagnant, so I wish him the best of luck. You can give him the rest of the peanut butter cake.
Almost all.
Is there any information on when this new subdivision ordinance that you read is going to be moved forward?
I guess we'd have to put that question over to the council.
Since the stormwater thing is done.
That's the guy behind you.
I mean, I submitted it a while back, months ago.
What I heard was the council was waiting to get the stormwater management
It's
thing
done.
put to bed.
It's done.
And then it would,
That just got done.
A week ago.
That was a heavy lift, Joe. Just be patient. You gotta take easy steps at a time.
well, you know,
My understanding is that's what they were waiting on. So, but I don't have any information about the new date, or any kind of dates.
well, would you check?
I'll be happy to, man.
Will you report back to us at our next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's such an emergency
We were.
that, you know,
Well,
I had to
that-
spend
that's-
hours on hours. and-
That's my fault because I kept pushing to get it
It
done.
wasn't you. It wasn't you.
It wasn't you, it was,
It was who? Oh,
Well,
heck
It
yeah.
wasn't Jeff.
it wasn't Jeff,
there
but
were
it
levels. There were levels of being pushed.
was one
Yeah.
like him.
It was Jeff pushing us, but it was coming from somewhere else.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way.
Well, it's done, and hopefully we can get it approved. Public hearing can be held by the county council, and it can get approved before we have to start making changes to it again.
Might be 2024.
Yeah, it could be a 24 document. Okay, if there's nothing else,
Move to adjourn.
motion by Mr. Goff to adjourn, second by Mr.
Good
Gann.
job.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion